Tesla's new refreshed Model S and X now come with a yoke instead of a round steering wheel, but even stranger than that, they don't come with any stalks. So nothing for your turn signals, nothing for shifting out of drive or park or neutral or anything like that. And so because of that, these new cars come with something called auto shift out of park. What Tesla's doing with this, instead of the human having to pick drive or reverse, the car can automatically do that for you when you hop in to go for a drive. Now, as the name implies, auto shift out of park means it will not automatically put you into park, and it will not switch you from drive to reverse or reverse to drive. It's pretty much used when you first get into the car at the beginning of a drive. You hop in, and then the car will intelligently guess if you want to be in drive or park, and then you can drive away. My wife drives the car more than I do. She said it has made one mistake for her where it put her into drive when she really should have been in reverse, but it's very clearly indicated on the screen which way you're going to go, and so she simply switched it to reverse herself. All right, so walking up to the Model X here, you'll see a lot of this car is automated. I did nothing. I simply walked up to it and it opened the door for me. So I hop in here, and all I have to do is put my foot on the brake, and the door will close just like that. And now it did not shift into drive, which it should, and that's because my seatbelt is not on. So how this feature works, as you can see here on the screen, it's telling me to fasten my seatbelt. So the first thing you have to do is you put your seatbelt on, and once it's enabled, it now says tap to activate drive. So it already tells me before I touch the brake that it's going to put it into drive rather than reverse, which makes sense because if we look here at our reverse camera, of course, get this out of here, my car is behind me, and so we cannot go into reverse there. So I put my foot on the brake, it makes that little noise for you, and I can let go and I can press the accelerator to drive. Of course, my seatbelt's on, the car's ready. So in that case, it picked the correct scenario. Let's turn it around and see if it will pick reverse if we are facing my car. All right, so driving up to my car here, I put my foot on the brake and it is not going to automatically put me into park. You can push a button, appears up here when I put my foot on the brake. My foot is on the brake, you can see that button. Although you can also, if you put the car into hold mode, I can just simply take my seatbelt off and it will put us into park automatically. That is kind of a safety feature to keep from rollaway, but Tesla does advertise that you can simply take your seatbelt off and be put into park. So if I put my seatbelt back on here, of course my car is in front of me. You can hear it clicks, and then nothing comes up on the screen. So because I didn't get out, it may not reset. Let me put my foot on the brake, and it did put me into reverse automatically. It didn't have the message that time, but it says press accelerator pedal to reverse, and that's that. Now, what if the car made the wrong choice? Let me just show you really quick what you can do here. On the left side of the screen, I can simply push this forward, and now I'm in drive. Now, of course, my car's in the way, but if the car selects the wrong thing, it's very simple to change gears like that, and then I can press this to drive, and we're going forward, put my foot back on the brake. I can do that to be in reverse, and there we go. So it works really well. You get a nice little chime. It sounds really good. Let me be quiet to make sure you can hear that. So that's the chime for forward, reverse. So there are different noises for forward and reverse to make it very obvious, and park, a different noise. So park has a similar sound to going into forward, except it doesn't have the little echoey effect. All right, I switched my mic off really quickly to make sure you could hear the differences. So here's reverse, here's forward, and here's park. So park and forward have the same tone, except park does not have the little echoey effect that forward does. So it works really, really well. Everything is very smooth. So in that case, the stalklessness is great and does not really matter all that much. So now let's really confuse the car. As you can see, nothing is behind me. My car is in front of me. It does say tap to activate reverse. Put my foot on the brake, we're in reverse, and I can back up. So if I switch this back and put something behind the car, what will it do if there's really not a good option to choose? All right, so here we go. We're in the car. My car's in front of me, and I put this trash can real close behind us right there, and I have not put my seatbelt on yet. So let's put that on and see what the car says. And it says tap to activate drive. So I guess there must be more room in front of the car than there is behind the car. So if I tap, we can go into drive, and I probably could get out of here. Oh yeah, look at that. So then I would just reverse from here, and I would be able to squeeze out of here. So that's pretty cool. Let's get everything much closer to the car and see how it does. All right, so now I'm closer to my car. Trash can again is very close. I'm not sure I could fit out of here if I did this. So seatbelt on, and it says tap to activate reverse. So it still wants me to go in reverse even though that trash can is really close. If I tap the brake and activate reverse, it does tell me that there's something 16 inches behind me. Of course, it brings up the backup camera in this huge screen, which is just amazing. So I would see that, and I would kind of be able to be like, oh, I got to get out and move that out of the way. And hopefully you would be paying attention. It does say stop right in front of us. I haven't moved at all, and it's kind of telling us 16 inches, that thing is close, you better be careful. But it did put us into reverse, which I find pretty interesting. All right, so here we go again. I've moved back, so nothing is in front of us. We can go into drive. And I've put a piece of tape, I need to get this out of here, on the reverse camera, just some painter's tape, so obviously there's no view there. The repeaters, though, are still clear, and they can see. But I would assume this is using the ultrasonic sensors, but I don't know. So I put that on there. If I put my seatbelt on, we'll see. It says tap to activate drive. So perhaps it is seeing that that camera is blocked and telling us to go into drive. So if I tap the brake, I can then go into drive. But now, if I come up to my car here and get real close, let's see. I can tap to put it in park. And now it says tap to activate reverse. So since my car is here, maybe the ultrasonic sensors are overriding the input it's getting from the camera, because of course the rear ultrasonic sensors won't be getting any input. And it wants me to go into reverse this time to avoid the car in front of me. So tap to activate, and boom, we're in reverse. So pretty interesting there if that's blocking it. So let's try blocking the 3 front cameras that are up here and see if it will still tell us to go into drive or reverse. All right, so really nothing in front of us or behind us, although I did put some tape up on the camera there. Probably can't see it from this angle. So if I put my seatbelt on once again, tap to activate reverse. So pretty interesting. It's hard to say if maybe because my car is close. Let's reverse just a little bit. So we can do that. Go into park. And might have to take my seatbelt off and on again. Off, and here's the seatbelt. And tap to activate drive. So the front cameras are blocked with that piece of tape here. I can show you without cutting if I do this. Just, there you go. So you can see that, and it is saying to activate drive. So tap right there, and it is having me go into drive. So pretty interesting. There's nothing behind me, so I could have went into reverse, but for whatever reason in this scenario, it put me into drive, or at least suggested drive. And if I didn't want that, I could override it. Okay, so now I have added painter's tape to the ultrasonic sensors in front of the car. Did not cover the front camera though. So let's put the seatbelt on and see. Now last time in this position, it did offer drive. And it says tap to activate reverse. So if I tap to activate reverse, we can back up and you can see the red there on the front of the car from the tape. It is disappearing, but then it keeps coming back. And I would assume if I were to put it into drive, yeah, it's telling me to stop. It's beeping at me because it's detecting that tape there. It is detecting the tape there and kind of freaking out. But let me put it into park and we can try one more time. So yeah, this time, okay, see that? It said for a second there, tap to activate drive, and then switched into reverse. So it detected that those were there. So it seems that this is using the ultrasonic sensors. Tesla is mostly camera, and for self-driving, for beta, it seems that it's pretty much all camera, but ultrasonic sensors are still in play here for certain things, and you can see that the auto shift from park is one of those that's still using the ultrasonic sensors. All right, so let's try out a real actual parking lot scenario. I'm gonna tap the brake. It says tap to drive. So foot on the brake and foot off the brake. We're in hold mode, so the car will not move unless I press the accelerator. And here we go. So I press the accelerator, we're going forward. And let's go find a parking spot and see how it does. So there was nobody behind me there. I had kind of just pulled through, but it decided to, put me into drive to get me out of the lanes. And I don't know if it's looking at, the structure of the parking lot and seeing, well, there's spaces behind us, let's not go into reverse. Maybe not that advanced yet, but I'm really not sure. All right, so let's check out this parking spot right here. We're gonna go in between these two cars, and we're just gonna pull in. And this should be obvious, hopefully, but we have kind of the curb there in front of us. So I put my foot on the brake and I have to tap to park. So now we're in park, the car's not gonna move, and it automatically says tap to activate reverse. So it knows that I don't want to go into drive because there's something in front of me. So that's great. I can tap to activate reverse. Our backup camera pops up. Now let me back into this spot and see if it will correctly get our gear that time. So now that I've backed out, I have to shift to drive, which is pretty simple. I really don't see it as a disadvantage or an advantage over having a stalk. So now I would normally just keep driving, but since we're testing, throw it into reverse. Hopefully I'll do a good job here so I don't have to cut out, you know, an embarrassing parking job. That looks really good. And doing this all with the yoke is very simple, very easy. So there we go. So we're in the spot. I'm gonna back up a lot. That looks pretty good. And then hold the brake and tap to park. And there we go. So tap to activate drive. It knows immediately that we should be going into drive because it sees the things behind us. So in a real parking scenario, it works great. So tap to activate drive. It's showing me it's gonna go forward. We don't have a backup camera up and we can get out of here. So there you go. Now again, let's just pull into this spot right here. And there's something, you know, the curb in front of us. So we would not want to go into drive here. Tap to park. We're in park. Immediately tap to activate reverse. Let's back into one of these spots real quick. So we're in reverse. I mean, that is so nice to just tap it and start driving. Like you're holding onto the wheel, you tap, you start driving, and I can probably just keep going backwards here forever. Directly into this spot. And all of this with the yoke, once you're used to it, is very simple. So a little bit far to my left there, but let's back way up. There we go. Tap to park. And immediately tap to activate drive. So it's very good at detecting what you need to do in a parking lot. So overall, it seems that auto shift from park is actually pretty reliable when you're blocked from the front and behind. It did just seem to kind of pick one random spot. But if your ultrasonic sensors are, you know, kind of uncovered, which even if they're covered in dirt doesn't really affect them. Some ice can affect them if there's ice on there or a bunch of snow buildup. But if your ultrasonic sensors are able to detect the environment around them, you should have a pretty good time. And the car tells you before it even shifts anywhere what its intention is. As you can see right here, it's already telling me tap to activate reverse. So the car is not in any gear. I would have to press the brake first. It gives me that kind of chime, and now I know I'm in reverse. I can also hear the reverse noise that comes from the pedestrian warning speaker. The reverse camera pops up and it shows you very clearly on the screen that we're gonna go backwards. That's the back of the car. And this stop up here, I think, is for the tape that's on the front. Yeah, so that stop is for up there, which is just so funny to me to see that. So we will be doing more testing with the yoke and the stalkless design. I will say, even after only using it for a very short amount of time, I really enjoy it. Surprise, surprise, even the turn signals are really nice the way they work. So we'll investigate that stuff in future videos. If you enjoyed this, please hit like and get subscribed. If you have any questions about this Model X or how it works or anything like that, leave those down below and I'll be sure to answer those. Hope you enjoyed this one and you will see me in the next video.
So Autopilot and I are happily driving along.